Let's talk about the difference between trafficking and smuggling. There's always a very thin line, and sometimes those lines are blurred. Explain to us
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, smuggling, you must have a border to cross. So it's facilitating you to cross a border illegally. We say irregularly
Okay.
in our organization. It's just because we don't want to stigmatize the migrant. We don't like the word illegal migrant because it's stigmatizing the person. We say irregular migrant. But it's illegal. So someone helps them and they have to pay for it. It's a service. So it's falsified documents or crossing them, and we all know those boats crossing the Mediterranean Sea, for example, but also crossing the desert, the land borders, whatever mean. So they pay for it. And the service, they arrive there. Obviously, they may be then in irregular situation, but they have crossed the border. Trafficking is different. Trafficking is really intentional.
You know what you're going to do.
No, the person is actually she doesn't know what she's going to do at all. She's promised to reach a place, and it's not necessarily crossing a border. It can be trafficking within your own country, from a region to another, but also crossing a border. You are promised a better life, a job, whatever. So you may pay, you may not pay. It depends. That varies. There are some also kidnapping. People are taken from a place and transported to another. But the most important element is exploitation. The purpose of all this is to exploit the person. And then you have various forms of exploitation. Child labor, prostitution, labor,
Organ harvest.
organ removals, all those, any terrible form of...
In Nigeria, are there hot zones? Are there areas that are prone to this? And what are we doing to these areas to discourage them being convinced to get into this?
Yeah, for years we knew that Edo State in particular was
Edo
a
State.
zone where the people were leaving from. And actually we knew it by the fact that that's where... that's the origin of the people who are intercepted in other countries, either intercepted in Europe or mainly in Libya. So those intercepted or actually being, in some case, exploited already in Libya, for example, on their way to Europe, they were asking to come back. So that's how we had the barometer, basically, of knowing that a lot of youth were leaving the region. And so they were returned and helped to reintegrate and look at their self-esteem. So it's not only to gain back a capacity to integrate the labor market, it's also how to look at yourself in the mirror or look at your parents because you have deceived them. So all this to be rebuilt, the personality and the capacity to actually believe in yourself and that you can
start
get
all over again.
into a job. So that is we were doing. But what we noticed recently is that because the government and Edo State in particular, this task force to fight against trafficking and smuggling, and they've really looked at all actors in society who can help and inform and provide jobs and skills and all this to the youth, it decreased.
Okay.
But now what we see, it's a new trend, it's the people from Kano are leaving. And actually we see it because we are returning people from Kano now.
Wow.
So we have charters coming from Libya, and more actually, to the extent that we have to discuss with the government, with the governor and the state level on operations to be done. Not only to receive them, to reintegrate them, but to prevent and really interact with society to combat traffickers and smugglers who are actually inciting them to
So
go.
Edo State was, Kano is the new...
It's unfortunately, it's like